Top 10 female weaknesses that trigger deep attraction. Every man must know. Why logic doesn't work on women. Let me ask you something. Man to man, have you ever bent over backward to impress a woman? Good morning texts, emojis, thoughtful replies, compliments on every photo, and she still treated you like background noise? Meanwhile, some guy with the personality of a houseplant just grunted at her once, and suddenly, she's baking cookies shaped like his initials. You ever wonder why that happens? Here's the cold truth most men don't want to hear. Attraction doesn't follow logic. It obeys psychology. You can have a six-figure job, perfect manners, and send paragraph-long messages about your values. But if you don't trigger the right emotional switches, you're invisible. Because when it comes to attraction, she's not checking boxes. She's responding to feeling. And today, I'm handing you the cheat codes. Not pick-up lines. Not cheesy tactics. Real psychological insights. The 9 hidden emotional weaknesses women will never admit out loud, but can't resist when you know how to tap into them. You're not here to be nice. You're here to be unforgettable. So sit back. Focus up. Let's rewire the way you understand female desire, starting right now. Part 1. Her mind never stops. Here's something no one tells you, but every man needs to know. A woman's mind never shuts off. Ever. You might say something offhand like, "Oh yeah, I've been here before, with someone." To you, it's nothing. But in her mind, boom, 48-hour spiral. Who was she? Was she prettier? Was it serious? Did they order the same drink? That's not overreacting. That's how she's wired. See, overthinking isn't a bug in her system. It is the system. Her brain is constantly scanning, interpreting, imagining. And if you're smart, you'll stop fighting it and start using it. How? You plant psychological landmines, subtle little details that explode in her thoughts long after the conversation ends. Example, I used to date a blonde who was weirdly into ancient philosophy. That line, it's a virus in her mental operating system. Now she's wondering, should I go blonde? Should I start quoting Socrates? The trick is this, you don't explain. You suggest. Let her imagination do the heavy lifting, because her imagination is far more seductive than anything you could say outright. Part 2. Validation is her oxygen. You've heard it before, right? I don't care what anyone thinks. Yeah, and I don't care about pizza either. We're both lying. Here's the truth. Most women crave validation, but not from just anyone. It hits differently when it comes from you, the man she can't quite figure out, the one who doesn't hand out approval like free samples at Costco, the guy who showers her with compliments every 5 minutes. He gets friend-zoned and asked for skincare tips. But the man who drops one genuine, unexpected compliment then goes silent, that guy lives in her head rent-free. Try this, don't say, "You look hot." That's obvious. Instead say, "The way your face lights up when you talk about something you love, that's beautiful." Boom. She'll be thinking about that for days. And then, say nothing for a while. Because when you stop giving it away so easily, your validation becomes reward. Something she earns. Something she craves. It's not about playing games. It's about showing her that your approval actually means something. If she's working to impress you, you've already won. Part 3. Emotion logic. Why she feels before she thinks. Let's kill a myth right now. You will never logic your way into a woman's heart. You can be the smartest guy in the room. Well-spoken, calm, educated. Hell, you could even have a podcast with 5-star ratings. But if she doesn't feel something around you, it's over before it starts. Because for her, emotion always beats logic. Always. This is why the so-called bad boys win. Not because they're smarter. Not because they're better, but because they're unpredictable, emotionally chaotic, and yeah, not boring. So what do you do with that? You stop trying to impress her brain, and you start hijacking her emotions. Make her laugh unexpectedly. Tell a bold story. Tease her, but don't explain the joke. Flip the script mid-conversation. One moment you're serious, the next, you're playfully challenging her. Because when she's feeling, she's not analyzing. And when a woman isn't overanalyzing, she's remembering you, feeling you, craving more of that emotional hit. You're not trying to be a perfect man. You're trying to be the man she feels something around, and that's what makes you unforgettable. Part 4. Mystery is mental glue. Why you should never give it all away. Here's a brutal truth. If you hand a woman a full, detailed map of who you are, your past, your feelings, your every plan, she'll smile, thank you politely, and forget you by breakfast. Why? Because mystery is mental glue. It sticks you in her mind. When she doesn't know everything, she starts imagining everything. And guess what? Her imagination paints a version of you that's way more intriguing than the reality ever could be. So don't answer every question. Be vague about parts of your past. Hint at experiences without spelling them out. Say something like, I've done some wild things I'll never post online. That one line, that's a mental time bomb. She'll replay it all night. What did he do? Who was he with? Why won't he tell me? And here's the kicker. The less she knows, the more she wants to know. It's not about playing games. It's about letting her chase the curiosity, not just the man. If she ever says, "You're so hard to read," smile. That means you're living rent-free in her imagination, and that's exactly where you want to be. Part 5. She wants a challenge, not a checklist. Let me make this clear. If every time she says something, you nod, agree, and say, "Whatever you want, babe," you're not her man. You're her personal assistant. Women don't fall for guys who give them the manual. They fall for the ones who make them guess the password. See, being nice is great for puppies and customer service. But if you want to stay in her head, you need to be a challenge. Not rude, not difficult, just unpredictable enough that she doesn't feel like she has you all figured out. Let's say she says, "I love horror movies." Don't just smile and agree like a fanboy. Say something like, "Yeah, I need more than jump scares and bad acting to stay interested." Boom, you've just challenged her taste without insulting her. Now she's thinking, wait, does he think I have bad taste? I have amazing taste. Let me prove it. That's the game. The more she works to earn your approval, the more emotionally invested she becomes. You're no longer just another guy. You're the one she wants to win over. Men who challenge her mindset stay in her memory. The rest, they get forgotten with yesterday's DMs. Part 6. Fear of being replaced. The hidden driver behind her desire. Let me tell you something most women will never admit. Deep down, they're wired to value what feels scarce. If she thinks you're the only guy who's ever looked her way, congratulations. You just earned a one-way ticket to the friend zone. But the moment she senses there are other women who notice you, even slightly, something primal kicks in. It's not insecurity. It's biology. Jealousy. That's not a toxic emotion. It's an evolutionary trigger. So no, you don't need to fake a harem or flirt with everyone in sight. But you do need to hint at options. Subtle, strategic cues. Say something like, "I was hanging out with someone recently. She reminded me of you. Just more into sci-fi." Boom. Mental fire ignited. Now she's wondering, who is she? Is she prettier? Smarter? Is she winning? Suddenly, you're no longer just a guy. You're a prize. And she's in prove herself mode. Remember, women don't compete over guys they're unsure about. They compete over guys they know others want. Not because they're petty, but because deep down, desire breeds value. And when she senses you're valuable, she starts fighting to keep you. Part 7. She wants to nurture you, but only if you do this right. Here's a twist most guys don't see coming. Women love strong men, but they also love to nurture them. It's not a contradiction. It's part of what makes attraction stick. Now before you start trauma dumping or crying over Mario Kart, let me be clear. She doesn't want a project. She wants a purpose. There's a difference. If you come off needy, constantly seeking emotional handouts, she'll feel drained, not drawn in. But if you reveal just a glimpse of real-life vulnerability, the kind that shows depth, not weakness, she leans in. Example, you say something like, "It's been a rough week. Haven't even had time to eat properly. Could really use a home-cooked meal right now." Boom. Mother mode activated. She's now emotionally invested in your well-being. She wants to feed you, comfort you, show up for you. Not because you begged, but because you sparked her instinct to care. That's powerful. That's sticky. That's primal. Controlled vulnerability is the move. Not oversharing, not emotional chaos. Just enough rawness to let her feel like she matters to the man who doesn't open up for just anyone. That's not weak. That's how you become unforgettable. Part 8. Stop explaining. Start suggesting. Here's one of the biggest mistakes I see men make, especially the logical, well-meaning guys. You explain too damn much. You tell her what you meant. You clarify every text. You over-deliver in every conversation, like you're pitching a business plan. But guess what? The more you explain, the less room her mind has to wonder. And wondering is where attraction grows. See, a man with presence doesn't fill every silence. He lets tension breathe. He knows that a well-placed pause, a cryptic smile, or a half-finished sentence is more powerful than any perfectly worded paragraph. So next time she asks you something personal, try this. It's a long story. Maybe I'll tell you someday. That line alone, it sticks. It teases. It makes her chase the full version of you. Bottom line, you don't have to give her all the answers. You just have to be the question she can't stop asking. Part 9. You're not a therapist. You're the spark. Let's make this clear. She's not looking for a therapist. She's looking for a spark. A lot of good guys fall into this trap. They listen, empathize, ask all the right questions, and then wonder why they're always just a friend. Here's why. They make her feel heard, but not alive. Because attraction isn't built on comfort alone. It's built on contrast. She doesn't want to feel like she's in a therapy session. She wants to feel like she's in a movie scene. Spontaneous, raw, exciting. So instead of responding with, "Tell me more about how that made you feel," try, "You know what? You overthink that way too much. Come on, let's go do something impulsive." That's what she remembers. That's what lights her up. You don't need to solve all her problems. You just need to disrupt the pattern, shake the emotion, and leave her wanting more. Part 10. Her desire is cyclical, not constant. Here's what most men don't get. A woman's desire isn't like a light switch. It's not always on. It's more like the tide. It rises, falls, shifts with time, emotion, and yes, even biology. You ever notice how one week she's all over you, texting first, wanting to see you, and the next, she's cold, distracted, distant? That's not always about you. Sometimes it's just how she's wired. Now here's the trap. Most guys panic. They start asking, "Did I do something wrong?" And worse, they start overcompensating, sending flowers, over-texting, trying to fix a cycle that was never broken. Listen, if you act like her desire should be linear, predictable, and logical, you're setting yourself up for frustration. What should you do instead? Simple. Stay grounded. Stay unbothered. When she pulls back, you hold your frame. When she comes close, you stay centered. That emotional consistency, that's what builds trust and attraction that lasts. Because women aren't drawn to men who react to every wave. They're drawn to men who become the rock it crashes against. This isn't about games. It's about mastery. So let's be clear. This isn't about manipulation. It's not about games. It's about understanding the psychological truth that most men ignore and most women won't say out loud. Because attraction doesn't respond to logic. It responds to emotion, to tension, to imagination. And when you learn to trigger the right instincts, you stop chasing. You start choosing. The moment you shift from, "What can I do to get her?" to, "How do I want to lead this dynamic?" That's when everything changes. So if you're done being the guy who always gets appreciated but never desired, if you're tired of being safe when what she really wants is stimulating, then it's time to flip the script. Because a man who knows how to touch her mind owns her attention, and a man who owns her attention doesn't beg for her time. Hit that subscribe button. This is just the beginning.